The winter wind howled outside the small, cracked window of the old wooden house. Snowflakes clung to the glass, turning the world beyond into a blurry whiteness. Inside, on a narrow bed covered with a worn quilt, a young girl named Emma lay awake, listening to the storm. She was 15, her eyes wide and restless, and her mind tangled with questions she didn't dare ask aloud. Her mother, Clara, sat beside her, hands rough from years of labor, stroking Emma's hair. "Try to sleep, darling," Clara whispered. Her voice carried warmth that defied the chill in the air. "Morning will come soon." But Emma didn't want morning. Morning meant facing the cold, walking to school in shoes with holes, and sitting among classmates who carried shiny new backpacks, who never worried about whether their mothers had eaten dinner the night before. She wanted to ask her mother why life was so unfair, but every time she looked at Clara's tired yet kind eyes, the words disappeared. What Emma didn't know was that her mother carried her own storm inside, one made of sacrifices, choices, and silent battles. Clara worked 2 jobs, sometimes skipping meals so Emma never had to. She dreamed of Emma's future with fierce determination, even if it meant burying her own. That night, as the storm raged, Clara made a decision that would change everything. The next morning, the sky cleared, leaving the town blanketed in white. Emma bundled in her patched coat and walked to school. She tried to focus on her lessons, but her stomach twisted with hunger. At lunch, she unwrapped the sandwich her mother had given her, just bread, spread thin with butter. She noticed her classmates laughing, sharing chips and chocolates. She kept her head down, pretending not to care. But someone did notice. Daniel, a quiet boy who usually sat at the back, leaned over. "Hey, want half of mine?" he asked, holding out a neatly packed sandwich. His mother worked at the bakery, so he always had something fresh. Emma's first instinct was pride. She wanted to refuse, but hunger was stronger. She accepted, murmuring thanks. Daniel smiled softly, as though he understood without words. That small kindness stayed with Emma. It made her wonder, how many small sacrifices had her own mother made, silently, without ever asking for thanks. That evening, Emma returned home to find Clara sitting at the kitchen table with a stack of envelopes. "Bills." Clara quickly shoved them aside and forced a smile. "How was school?" Emma hesitated. For the first time, she didn't just answer, "Fine." Instead, she said, "Mom, are you okay?" Clara's smile faltered. For a moment, Emma thought she might finally hear the truth. But Clara only nodded. "Of course, sweetheart, I'm fine." Still, something in her mother's eyes betrayed her. It was not weakness, but weariness, the kind that comes from carrying the weight of the world alone. That night, Emma lay awake again, her thoughts burning. She realized her mother's love wasn't just hugs and gentle words. It was hidden in empty plates, in long hours at work, in shoes worn thin so Emma's could be mended. Love was sacrifice, quiet and invisible. Weeks passed, and spring brought a fragile warmth. Emma began helping more around the house, cooking simple meals, patching clothes, anything to ease her mother's burden. Clara noticed but said nothing. She simply hugged Emma a little tighter at night. One Saturday morning, Clara received a letter. Her hands trembled as she read it. It was from the local hospital. They were hiring assistants. The pay was better than her current cleaning job, but the hours were brutal. She would barely see Emma. Clara sat at the table, torn. To provide for her daughter meant sacrificing time with her. To stay home meant risking bills piling higher. It was the kind of impossible choice mothers make in silence. Emma, walking in, saw the letter. She read her mother's face more than the words. "Take it," Emma said firmly. Clara blinked. "But, I'll be okay," Emma interrupted, though her voice cracked. "You've always done everything for me. Maybe now I can help too." In that moment, Clara saw her daughter not as a child, but as someone growing into strength shaped by love. She pulled Emma close, tears slipping down her face. Months rolled by, hard but steady. Clara worked late at the hospital, sometimes not coming home until dawn. Emma learned to manage, cooking dinner, finishing homework alone. They left each other notes on the kitchen table, small reminders of love in handwriting. One evening, after a long day at school, Emma found her mother asleep at the table, still in her scrubs, head resting on a pile of unpaid bills. Emma's chest tightened. Quietly, she covered her mother with a blanket. Then she saw something beside the bills, a folded piece of paper. Curious, she opened it. It was a letter, written but never sent. "My dearest Emma," it began. "If you ever wonder why I look tired, why I sometimes cannot be with you, please know, it is not because I don't want to. It is because I want you to have the life I could not. Every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every ache in my bones, it is love. Pure and simple. Someday, you will understand. Emma pressed the letter to her chest, tears streaming down. She had already begun to understand. One night, Clara came home later than usual. Her face was pale, her steps unsteady. Emma rushed to her. "Mom, what's wrong?" Clara smiled faintly. "Just tired, sweetheart. Nothing to worry about." But Emma did worry. She insisted on taking her mother to the doctor, who revealed the toll long hours and skipped meals had taken on Clara's health. She needed rest, proper care. The news hit Emma like a storm. For the first time, she saw her mother not as invincible, but as human, fragile, in need of the same care she always gave. That night, Emma sat by her mother's bed, holding her hand just as Clara had done so many times for her. "You don't have to do everything alone anymore," Emma whispered. "I'm here. I'll take care of you, the way you've always taken care of me." Summer came, and though challenges remained, something shifted between them. Their love was no longer one-sided sacrifice but shared strength. They laughed more, cooked together, and leaned on each other in ways they never had before. Emma started writing. At first, it was just a diary, but soon it grew into stories, about love, sacrifice, and the invisible heroes hidden in everyday life. She wrote late into the night, pouring her heart onto pages, inspired by the quiet bravery of her mother. One day, her teacher found her writing and encouraged her to enter a local contest. Emma hesitated, but Clara urged her. "Your words matter," she said softly. "They can touch people, the way you touch me every day." Emma submitted her story. Weeks later, she won first prize. The story was published in the local paper, where hundreds read about a mother's unspoken love and the daughter who finally understood it. Clara cried when she saw it. Not out of pride alone, but because her sacrifices had bloomed into something beautiful, her daughter's voice, carrying their truth into the world. Years later, Emma would look back on that winter storm and realize it was not just snow she had heard outside her window, but the echo of her mother's strength. She would remember the sandwiches, the unpaid bills, the late nights, and above all, the letter never meant to be read. And she would know, her life was built, piece by piece, from her mother's love.